Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Before we begin the regularly scheduled council meeting this evening, we have two ordinances that are up for a public hearing. And normally what we do is we'll do the public hearing on the ordinances before we go ahead and drop the gavel and start the regularly scheduled council meeting. So we have ordinance number 1100 and ordinance number 1101 for a public hearing. We'll begin with ordinance 1100. Ordinance concerning accepting a deed of easement for sanitary sewer to include sewer pump station and force main at the Maryland National Guard. An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of accepting a deed of easement with respect to sanitary sewer to include sewer pump station and force main location on property of the Maryland National Guard. What I'll do is I'll ask for anyone who wishes to speak in the audience at large, unless someone filled out a form to speak ahead of time, and we do actually. We have a speaker filled out a form, and that's Catherine Metzer. I'm sorry.
Nobody's ever gotten it right in the entire.
I didn't read it right. How do you say your last name?
Mateer.
Mateer.
M-A-T-E-E-R. It's Mateer.
Thank you. I apologize.
No problem, like I
Well,
said.
welcome to the public hearing, and if one more time, your name for the record and
My
your
name is
address.
Catherine Mateer. I'm with the Maryland Department of General Services Office of Real Estate. Our client agency is the Maryland Military Department, and they asked me to be here this evening in case you had any questions about the easement or the state's process. And I wanted to make everyone aware that the final document is still being tweaked. It's not quite ready for signature. Once the board or the council here approves the acceptance of the easement, we'll present it to the Maryland Board of Public Works so that they can approve it from the other side. And once that's done, we'll get it recorded and get it done.
Perfect.
So if you have
Council,
any
are there any
questions.
questions?
Everything, when you read it through, everything's good, whether we don't have as far as edits?
There are some edits. The Maryland Military Department's not listed properly in the document, and their signatories for the state need to be added on, but nothing substantive to the actual document itself, no. You're welcome.
Yeah,
Ms. Ishak?
Mayor, if you don't mind, I was in communication today with Ms. Mateer, and so there are a couple of changes regarding the signatories at the state side. Substantively, Tim Whitty and I have been over the document, and we're just confirming that the exhibits are the correct exhibits. But so far, if there are any changes to the document, you'll be able to amend it before the second read. So it shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you.
And we should have that done next week. You know how lawyers are.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for being
You're
here.
very
this evening.
welcome.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Any other citizen in the audience at large wish to speak on ordinance 1100? Any further comments from council? Okay, without any further comments from the public or council, I now declare public hearing on ordinance 1100 to be closed. Time is 7:06. That takes us to a public hearing on ordinance 1101 concerning accepting a deed of easement for a water line at the Maryland National Guard. An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of accepting a deed of easement with respect to a water line located on property of the Maryland National Guard. Again, is any citizen in the audience here this evening to speak on 1101? Comments from council? Okay, without any further comment from the citizens or council, I now declare public hearing on ordinance 1101 closed. The time is now 7:07. Very well, council. Thank you very much. We will begin our council meeting. And good evening. The date is April 3rd, 2023. The time is now 7:08 p.m. I call to order a meeting of the Havre de Grace Mayor and City Council, and we're going to begin by the roll call. Council President Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Shenagus.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
All council members are present and accounted for. Please join me, everyone, for Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
If I could kindly ask everyone to remain standing for a few more moments, it gives me great pleasure to call Elder Harry Lee Jr., Gospel Tabernacle Church. Welcome, sir, and thank you for being here this evening.
All right, thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you once again. Thank you for this day. We thank you for waking us up this morning and starting us on our way. We thank you for this is the day that you have made. We thank you for traveling mercy, and we invite you to reside over this city council meeting tonight. Even if we have different opinions, give them unity of spirit. Help them to listen as others share their point of view. Help them to work as a unified city council and combining ideas for a great outcome. We ask you to bless them abundantly as they continue to seek your wisdom, your guidance, your courage, and your strength. Let your will be done as they plan and make decisions for the good of all those that have placed their trust and confidence in their leadership. Lord, please guide this mayor and the city council as they continue to be unified in making the best possible decisions and to effectively carry them out. Watch over each member and cause them to have a productive meeting. Give them clarity so that they can effectively tackle each part of the agenda today. And as I close, Lord, I pray your blessing over this meeting and give them insight to lead with integrity. Amen.
Amen. Sir, thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Item number 5, approval of the minutes, City Council meeting minutes, March 20th, 2023. Council, I have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Shenagus. Questions or comments? Abstention?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. City Council meeting minutes of March 20th, 2023 carry and are approved 4-0 in the affirmative. Item B, City Council closed session meeting minutes of March 20th, 2023. I have a motion to approve.
So move.
Motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Council President, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Questions or comments? Council President.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, I need to read in the closed session vote for the record. Motion was made by Council President Ringsacher to deny the request for relief from the moratorium under City Code Section 1 through 16 as good cause has not been shown. Second by Councilmember Shenagus. Motion passes by vote of 4-0. City is directed to pursue possible settlements subject to further review by council.
Sure. Okay, very well. Any further questions or comments? All those, abstention, correct? Yes, sir. Right. Welcome back, guys. Thanks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. City Council closed session meeting minutes and the vote from the closed session is approved 4-0 in the affirmative. Okay, we're going to go up to item 6. Item 6 is comments from citizens. This is the part of the meeting's agenda that if you are here this evening to speak of an agenda item, now's the time to do so. Also, if you're here to speak on any other matter of city business, now's the time to do so also. So normally, again, what I'll do is if anybody pre-filled out a form to speak, I will call on those citizens first. Once I call on those citizens, I will call on any citizen that raises their hand wishes to speak. So we have Julie Runke. Good evening, Ms. Runke. Welcome to the City Council meeting. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Julie Runke, 311D Redhead Way.
Welcome.
So I'm here to talk about support for the kayak poker run, otherwise known as Matilda's Run. This event is a partnership between the Hartford Land Trust, the American Legion, and the Chamber of Commerce. So we all got together to make this happen. It's to present all the work that we've done on our living shoreline, the new piers we put in, the new Water Street facility, the new boat ramps. It's a great way to show off the whole city. If you don't know what a poker run is, it is a 3 to 5 mile trail from Lock House all the way down to the lighthouse and around the island and a little further towards the National Guard and then back out. There'll be 5 to 7 stops where you can do it by kayak or by SUP, stand-up paddleboard if you're brave enough. You pick up the cards as you go along. When you get in, you hand in a poker hand, to the Hartford Land Trust, who will award prizes for the best hands. There's the run, and then there will be an after party at the American Legion where we will award the prizes, and it'll be done by noon. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. If not, I hope you can support us.
Council, any questions? Thank you, Ms. Runke. Appreciate you speaking. Thank you. Ms. Donna Mandel. Good evening. Welcome. May we please have your full name and address for the record?
Good evening. Donna Mandel, 1725 Tower Road, Aberdeen, Maryland.
Welcome.
And I'm here to ask for the council's support again for the Havre Grace Farmers Market. We're ready to start up our regular market season on May 6th. This year it'll run through December 23rd. I'd also like to thank the council for your support of our winter market, which despite the weather, which was beautiful Monday through Friday, and then really bad every Saturday, we still have had a very good winter market. The vendors are still coming out. The customers are coming out. Rain, wind, cold. They've been coming out the first and third Saturdays. We have one more left, April 15th. Hopefully the weather will cooperate this final Saturday for us. But with our regular market starting up in May, we do have some new vendors coming. This will be the first year we're actually going to have 4 produce farms participating in the market. We got Lore's Orchard to come, so they will be participating. Corn is coming back to the market. So we will have sweet corn back at the market. We haven't had it since Paula was here. We'll have more fruits, more vegetables. A lot of the returning vendors are coming back. It should be a really good market. We're averaging about 30+ vendors each Saturday.
That's great. That's great.
And if you notice, in Hartford's Heart, we did get an honorable mention for Best Farmers Market. Next year, we're going to win for Best Farmers Market. We're going to beat Bel Air.
Oh, I have no doubt. I have
Yes.
no doubt. Council, any questions? Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Boyer.
Just, can you speak real quick in regards to the location?
Oh, yes, we're going back to the St. John's. We're asking to go back to the St. John Street location and the top of the Hutchins Park entrance, I guess we'll call it, the same location we had last year. We're going to work with the barber shop as we did last year, as well as I believe it's Olivia's natural store, health food store. We will work with them so that we are not impacting their front entrance and have handicap parking spaces available for customers for the barber shop.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to thank Chief Walter for her officers' support. They were wonderful last year.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And Ms. Carol Allen. Good evening, Ms. Allen. Welcome. And may you please have your full name and address for the record?
Good evening, Carol Allen, 814 Market Street, but I'm here in my capacity as Director for Concord Point Lighthouse.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I just want to mention that I was in touch with Steve Gamatoria earlier today about a possible small modification in the map for Oktoberfest. And I think probably all is well at this point. But I will be here to answer any questions when that part of the agenda comes up, and also here along with Cindy to support the application for the Havre Grace Arts Festival. So that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Allen. Thank you very much. Members of the audience, that is the last pre-filled out form I have. Does any other member of this audience wish to speak on any topic of city business or the agenda? Okay. Any comments from the council before we move on? All right, very well. Okay, we will move on to item number 7, appointments. This evening we have no appointments. Item 8, recognitions. This evening we have no recognitions. Item 9, proclamations. Okay, well, we have a proclamation. I have the proclamation right here. And I bet many of you did not realize that this is Flood Awareness Month. Now you're probably thinking, why is the city of Havre de Grace recognizing Flood Awareness Month? Well, we live next to a river. And if you lived here long enough, you know that Havre de Grace can flood. And it is always incumbent upon us to be diligent, as well as our city and the city planning department and Department of DPW, to do the best we can to mitigate any kind of flooding that may occur from time to time as Mother Nature seems fit. So, I wish to read into the record a proclamation recognizing Flood Awareness Month. Whereas the city of Havre de Grace has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall, hurricane system events, or other events resulting in flooding along the Chesapeake Bay or Susquehanna River, and our inland streams, such as Lily Run, Cashews Creek, and Fountain Run. This flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas where they are high risk, special flood hazard areas to low moderate risk flood zones. Whereas the city of Havre de Grace is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to their property. Whereas reduction of loss of life property damage can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood. Whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protecting are critical to health, safety, and welfare of residents. The City of Havre de Grace has declared the month of April 2023 as Flood Awareness Month to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, in coordination with Maryland Resiliency Partnership, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Flood Awareness Month in the City of Havre de Grace, and further encourage the citizens of Havre de Grace to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves and their property from flooding. Thank you very much. If you guys could pass that down to the Director of Administration, I would appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to go to item 10 this evening is presentations. We have no presentations this evening. And we will go to resolutions. This evening we have 2 resolutions. And they're both going to be introduced by Councilmember Shenagus. So item A, calendar resolution concerning approval of license agreement. And Councilmember Shenagus.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I move to introduce a calendar resolution concerning approval for a license agreement for reconstruction of stairs at 617 Bourbon Street.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Shenagus, seconded by the Council President, to introduce a calendar resolution concerning approval of a license agreement for reconstruction of stairs at 617 Bourbon Street. This is a motion to introduce a resolution. Are there any questions and comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce a resolution carries 6-0 in affirmative. Council, this will be known as Resolution 2023-04. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to Section 33 and 34 of the City Charter and the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, for approval of a license agreement for the reconstruction of stairs at 617 Bourbon Street, right-of-way, and to authorize the mayor to execute such a license. Council, I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-4.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? Councilmember Shenanigans?
I would like to add that this is a structure that is on, it's a single structure on one property with a staircase shared by two properties. So we will be reading in and hearing about that momentarily. So when you look at it, just know it's like a duplex structure, and it will have one adjoining staircase.
Thank you, Councilmember Shenanigans. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer?
So, just so clarity too, that, and this is procedural, that because there are two separate deeds, even though it's the same owner and the same set of steps, that it has to be two different, two different permits and two different easements at some point in time as well, that they cannot be combined because they're two different deeds.
That's correct. For purposes of the license runs with the person, not the property. And then to the extent, long-term, it might turn into an easement. Each property will need its own easement. So it keeps the records clear that we're dealing with two separate properties, two separate tax ID numbers, as opposed to combining it into one. But if you look at the picture, it looks like a single staircase.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on Resolution 2023-4. Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Council President Ringsager?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Resolution 2023-4 is approved and adopted by council. Thank you. Item B, Councilmember Shenanigans.
Council, I move to introduce a calendar resolution concerning approval of a license agreement for reconstruction of stairs at 619 Bourbon Street.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Shenanigans, as seconded by Councilmember Robertson. This is a motion to introduce a calendar resolution concerning approval of a license agreement for reconstruction of stairs at 619 Bourbon Street. Questions or comments on the introduction of this resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce calendar resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this will be known as City Resolution 2023-05. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, pursuant to Sections 33 and 34 of the City Charter and the Local Government Article in the Annotated Code of Maryland, for approval of a license agreement for the reconstruction of stairs at 619 Bourbon Street right-of-way, and to authorize the mayor to execute such license. Council, do I have a motion to adopt 2023-05?
So moved.
Motion by the Council President and a seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? Okay. Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on City Calendar Resolution 2023-05. Councilmember Robertson? Yes. Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
Council President Ringsager?
Yes.
Council President Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner? Yes. Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Calendar Resolution 2023-05 is approved 6-0 in the affirmative. We're going to move on to item 12 this evening. Item 12 is ordinances. We have 4 ordinances on this evening's docket. And the first one is going to be Ordinance 1099 for a second reading, and that falls under planning. We're handing that off to Councilmember Shenanigans.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, I move to introduce ordinance number 1099 concerning amending sections of City Code 205 zoning in the second reading and adoption.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Shenegis. It's also seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1099 on second reading. Questions or comments on introduction of 1099? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1099 on second reading carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution. The local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, to amend sections of City Code 205 zoning. Council, to have a motion to adopt 1099 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin and seconded by Councilmember Shenegis. Questions or comments on ordinance 1099? 1099. Council will do a roll call vote. Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson? Yes. Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Council President Ringsager?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenegis?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1099 is approved and adopted by the City Council on its second reading. Thank you. Item B, Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I make a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning amending City Code 70, fees for first reading.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President. It's seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance that amends City Code 70, which is fees, on the first reading. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance. Questions or comments on this introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce the ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this will be ordinance 1102, an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to amend City Code 70, which is fees, by repealing and replacing ordinance number 1091 to update the definitions and general schedule of fees charged by the city for various permits, licenses, and other services thereunder. Council, do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1102 on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Martin and seconded by Councilmember Shenegis. Questions or comments? Council President.
So we recently passed the fee schedule. This is just a few changes we're adding, some different fees and correcting a couple things. I'm not going to bore you by reading it all. It's all available online and it's in your packet. Everything that's underlined is the new. What's in parentheses is redacted. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Zinner?
I just have one question on the Hutchins Park Memorial Park. I have one question on the Hutchinson's Memorial Park slip on page 14. It says $115 a foot. Where all the other transients, there's more description in terms of per day, foot, boat length, that sort of thing. And this one just says $115.
Yeah. So the Hutchins Park slip is for a boat that would come in and stay for the season. For example, like the Lantern Queen or the Martha Lewis, if they came in, that would be the fixed rate. It's not for a transient, as we would experience down at Tidings Park, for example, where somebody would come in for a weekend or maybe a week. So those are the big differences. So the slip the size of the slip and the width of the slip dictates a much larger slip fee than what we have down at Tidings. That's the reason behind that.
Okay, so is this daily, monthly, weekly, daily?
So the fee is for the season.
Oh, the season,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am, just as it is for the Tidings Park slips.
Okay,
Seasonal.
thank you.
Councilmember Boyer?
I think it's kind of important so that people are aware of the things that are going to be added and there's transparency about it. So and the way that the information is presented is kind of hard to figure out how to best connect through to this. But in regards to residential rentals, that is in connection to the short-term rental agreement legislation that we just recently passed. And there's a breakdown. The breakdown here isn't necessarily how we're discussing it at the public work sessions. Is there any more information on how we got to this part? I mean, I like it, it makes sense, but can you talk to how we got to this? And what exactly is interior common area and multifamily units?
So Mr. Borsier, who's at a conference today, you could follow up with him, excuse me. But primarily, this came with the work session that was held, and then the details of the conversations afterwards. I didn't author any of this, so that would be a fair question for him on follow-up.
Okay. Council President, do you have any information on what what they mean by interior common area and why it's $150 just for that?
I don't know. We would have to speak with Mr. Bercier specifically on that, and we can set that up. If we need another work session on that, we can, but I doubt we need it. Don't know exactly which portion you're referring to. So, get my glasses.
It's under residential rentals. Annual application fee.
I believe that refers to, for instance, if you have multiple units and you have a common area that's not specific to that unit, but it's common, let's say a kitchen that's common to the unit, and you have the different rooms that are the rentals, the inspection fee for that common area, which isn't considered part of the rental, it's more, again, common area, that would have its own fee.
Okay.
Just like a college dorm and a quad would have a common area.
I got that. I understand now. And then community playground, how did we get to a community playground being added?
Because it was not in there before. And we are starting to see in some developments, community playgrounds being added.
Okay, and that is something that we would have to inspect on a regular basis as well to make sure for safety reasons. Do we do that, or does the homeowners association
The
have that
homeowners association would, but we would also be involved with the siting and the type of equipment.
Okay. And the increase in the housekeeping fee for the gyms at the Star Center?
So this is based off of the updated contractual agreement we have with, I believe it's Bayside Services. Now, some of those, I spoke to the council president just prior to the meeting. We were going back through some of those with, I met with Bambi and Michelle today. And I think some of those you'll see some reduction. I think the way that they were breaking down the per day cost, like for the back gym, the rear gym, the smaller gym, I think it says $450 a day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's going to be vastly reduced, and it'll be picked up as about $90 a day on that. So what happened was, I think Bambi used the gym cleaning fees, which included, $450 includes the big gym, the lobby, the bathrooms, the ancillary rooms, and the small gym. So you can't charge $450 if you use the front gym and the back gym. It's $900. So we're just kind of fixing those costs, so it'd be the $450. And then if it happens to be you in the back gym and me in the front gym, then there'll be a breakdown of that cost.
All right, so we're going to see an edit to that before final passage of this?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's it. I just think it's important that the community has full transparency and information on it. Thank you.
Well, would you want to go through the rest of them?
I mean, the rest of them look pretty sublime to me, but is there anything else that we should point out that you want to highlight?
No, I think, since we went through a couple of them, it probably wouldn't hurt to go through all of them. The lot consolidation, lot line adjustment. So planning departments never had, or didn't have any in the recent history of a lot line adjustment, but we do get them. And it creates the same level of oversight that it does with a lot consolidation. So added that, there were some administrative fee increases. One was an increase, one was a decrease. On the community center, we gave the Boy Scouts the option of either awards recognition dinner or a fundraiser. We reduced the rates for the community pavilion at Hutchins, or we created a section for reduced rates at the pavilion at Hutchins Park to include the youth sailing school. What else is there? So, and then the housekeeping on small gym, large gym, auditorium weekday, and a housekeeping fee for the entire facility, and also to include the classrooms. Then we also pulled in the Opera House because it's handled a little bit differently. For example, over in the auditorium in the big gym, we offer a daily cleaning while they're there. So for example, if it's a big event, pulling trash the whole time, that's what the contractor does. That doesn't happen down at the Opera House. So we're gonna wind up backing that one out. And then on the film production, use of city property, which was not listed in the fee schedule, was $500 per day, and that's in addition to the fees that were already in there.
Did some of these become highlighted because upon using the fee schedule, we found some holes?
No, I think, actually, some of that, but I think some of it was just this sort of rare things that just happened to come up in the last month. The community playgrounds is one. The lot line adjustment is one. We put down pods but not containers. Yeah.
Okay, so this is growing pains, you would say.
Well, this is going to continue. I think we'll see a number of adjustments as the year goes on.
Okay.
As things come up.
Thank you.
It's a living document. Right.
Council President?
If I could just point out, the word transparency was used, and I want to point out that the entire thing has been available, published online for the past week or longer. So it's not like we're hiding stuff from you guys. So to say we're doing this in interest of transparency, I want to know that it is currently published, has been published online on the with the council packet. So it's out there. There's no hiding.
I'm sorry for that. I don't mean it in a derogatory way, but I think it, for the purposes of communicating to everybody in a forum like this, where a lot of people are watching online, they don't have the background to go back and look and read everything. I just think it's just a great opportunity for us to communicate to everybody freely. That's what I mean. Thank you.
Yeah, just from the administration's point of view, and thank you for that, and I think I understand where you were going. When I hear transparency issues, I kind of writhe, because that's something that we try to go over to the nth degree. So there are going to be times when this council is going to be looking at amendments that, unless you read the entire amendment into the record, the folks at home are not going to be able to understand fully what's going on unless they call and ask questions or read it online or ask for copies. And we post copies out front in the lobby. There's several copies of the agendas ahead of time. So I don't know that it's, if we have the ability to be able to read in every edit that comes through as an amendment on some of these ordinances.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilmember Zinner?
Thank you. I think partially too, the purpose of this particular ordinance and working with Tim was that he wanted to keep fees separate so that whenever we made a change to a fee, then we wouldn't have to rewrite the other ordinance, where we could just put it in here and then call it out at that point. So I think he felt, for the purpose of management of the fees, that this was the most appropriate way to go. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Council, this is ordinance 1102 on first reading. I have a motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Schnegas. Roll call vote. Councilmember Robertson. Aye. Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Council President Ringsager.
Yes.
Councilmember Schnegas.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative. Ordinance 1102 is adopted on first reading. Council President, when would you like to have the public hearing?
How about on the 20th? Is that the next meeting? April 17th.
Or the 17th,
What is today?
3rd.
3rd. Okay, never mind, I was thinking it was the 6th for some
3
reason.
plus 14 is.
Okay, I was thinking it was the 6th for some reason in my head. The 17th would be perfect, sir.
17 works out better for most of us, so
Yeah.
we will make the public hearing on 1102
Be here on
at the next council meeting, which is going to be April 17th, preceding the regularly scheduled council meeting. All right, 7 o'clock. Item C, ordinance concerning approving an extension of the temporary moratorium on short-term rentals. This is going to be a first reading, and this is going to fall into the wheelhouse of the council president. Sir.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'll make a motion to introduce, I always mess that up. I make a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning approving an extension of the temporary moratorium on short-term rentals for first reading.
So moved.
I have a motion by council president and seconded by Councilmember Schnegas. This is a motion introduced on first reading, a ordinance concerning the approving of an extension of the temporary moratorium on short-term rentals. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this is going to be ordinance 1103. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the Local Government Article, and the Land Use Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, to extend the temporary moratorium on the approval and issuance of the permits within the city's municipal limits for short-term rentals. Council, I have a motion to adopt 1103 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Martin, seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments? Council President.
This is just a short extension of the moratorium. I think it expires in the end of this month, right? So we're just extending it to the fiscal year, so July 1, to assist us with the mailers. And we're actually trying to save you thousands of dollars in mailing fees so we can send out the information about the moratorium being ended and the rental fees and everything with our regular tax bills and everything else that goes out in July. Perfect.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions? Councilmember Zinner?
And I just have a comment. This ordinance, if you read it, you'll see that it's going to get folded into the long-term rental ordinance that'll be coming up shortly. So that's one of the reasons for the deferral, so that they can be enacted together.
Thank you, Councilmember Zinner. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote on 1103. Councilmember Boyer, how say ye?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Schnegas?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Council President Ringsager?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1103 is adopted by the City Council on first reading. Council President, public hearing?
Well, I'm busy on the 20th. Can you do the 17th?
We will move this to the 17th.
All right.
All right. So the public hearing on ordinance 1103 will be at the next regularly scheduled council meeting, April 17th, Monday, preceding the public hearing on ordinance 1102, or after the public, not preceding, after the public hearing on 1102. So we'll do 1102 first, then 1103.
can even fit 1104 in there.
I was going to think we're going to have, something tells me there's 1104 coming also. All right. Item D, ordinance concerning approving, affirming, and ratifying the supply of municipal water to the city of Aberdeen. Councilmember Snegas.
It's Ringsacher. You said Chagas?
Look at that.
Look at that.
I'll be done.
I'll let her do what she wants to.
No, actually, as soon as I said that, I'm thinking that should have been you anyway.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning approving, affirming, and ratifying the agreement to supply municipal water to the city of Aberdeen for first reading.
Second, or I make the motion to accept.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning approving, affirming, and ratifying the supply of municipal water to the city of Aberdeen. Questions or comments on the introduction of this ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This will be known as Ordinance 1104.
Write that down.
An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of approving, affirming, and ratifying the supply of municipal water to the city of Aberdeen. Council, I have a motion to adopt 1104 on first reading.
So moved.
Second?
A motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Snegas. Questions or comments? Council President.
So if you guys remember way back in June 15th of 2020, we actually passed basically the same thing, which is actually included in here under the exhibit for this ordinance. Basically, it's been a while. We're just reaffirming and re-ratifying the previous agreement between us and the city of Aberdeen.
Thank you, Council President. Councilmember Martin.
Actually, this is a great thing for the Water and Sewer Commission to finally see this moving forward again.
Sorry, you're on. My bad.
So we're happy to see it moving forward. We talk about finding a source to purchase the city water. We have it, and that's what we're looking forward to finally get this underway where we are actually selling bulk water outside the city.
Thank you, Councilmember Martin. Any other questions or comments? Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on 1104. Council President Ringsacher.
Yes.
Councilmember Snegas.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Ordinance 1104 is adopted on first reading. And Council President, public hearing?
How about the 17th?
Okay, 17th works.
All right.
So we will do public hearing on 1104 prior to the start of the City Council meeting scheduled for Monday, April 17th. So we'll have 3 ordinances to be heard, 1102, 1103, 1104, prior to the City Council meeting on Monday, April 17th, 7 o'clock. Thank you, Council. We're going to move down to item 13, old business. This evening we have no old business. And it takes us to item 14, new business, and we have 6 events for new business, and we're going to hand that off to Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This evening, the first of 6 is the Havre de Grace Farmers Market. It is sponsored by the Community Projects of Havre de Grace, Inc. On-site contact person will be Donna Mandel. Donna was here this evening to speak on behalf of the event. The event occurs from May 6th through December 23rd. Setup time is 7:30. The markets begin at 8:30, end at noon, and they break down at 1. This year, they are cited to be down at the same location on St. John Street, down in front of the, between the Pennington Strawberry Lane and Congress Avenue. along that 100 block of St. John Street. There's a map attached, as is the costing sheet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gambatoria. Council, I have a motion to approve the Havre de Grace Farmers Market.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Havre de Grace Farmers Market, May 6th through December 23rd, 2023, 8:30 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. at the 100 block of St. John Street. That event is approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gambatoria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, the next event application is a new one. It's called Matilda's Run Kayak Poker Run. Ms. Runke was here earlier this evening to speak about it. It's sponsored by the American Legion, partnered with the Hartford Land Trust and the Havre de Grace Chamber of Commerce. The on-site contact person will be Councilmember Robertson. This is an athletic and recreational type event. It'll be set up on Saturday, the 24th of June at 7 a.m. The event will start at 8 a.m. and at noon, with a breakdown at 5 p.m. There is a rain date, June 25th, at the same time. This will occur at various locations throughout the city, but primarily down at the at Water Street. And then, based on the map that they've attached, you'll see a number of points in which the kayakers or paddleboarders will touch throughout the city, again highlighting some of our waterfront improvements and getting their poker cards, and then they will return back to the American Legion for a little fun luncheon. Yeah.
Sustenance.
Rebel route.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Council, I have a motion to approve Matilda's Run.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments?
Say Zenner. She's got like 3 council meetings left.
Motion by Councilmember Boyer, second by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? Yes.
So as a kayaker, I can tell you this is a pretty exciting ride. And we've had this event previously, but it went down the bay towards Swan Harbor. We haven't gone upriver. And one of the things I know that the Green Team has wanted to try to do is to try to establish just like we have walking routes through town. We have different types of trails that you can take through town. We haven't identified a designated kayaking route for town. And this is a good attempt at a first step of creating a kayak route to go around Havre de Grace. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think we're going to have a great amount of people, and most especially the heartwarming part is that we can provide some funds to Legion to try to fix the pavilion in the back, and that's really exciting. So thank you. I hope we have your support.
Any further questions or comments? Council, Matilda's Run. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Matilda's Run Kayak Poker Run, June 24th, 2023, with a rain date of 6/25/23, 8 a.m. to 12 o'clock, Water Street Boat Ramp and Piers by Lockhouse Lighthouse, City Marina. The event is approved by the council, 6-0 in affirmative. Mr. Gambatoria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councilmember Robertson. Fellowship. That was the word I was trying to think of. Fellowship.
Yeah, there you go.
The next event is the Waterfront Festival. It is sponsored by the City of Havre de Grace. The beer garden is by the Havre de Grace Alliance Chamber of Commerce. The on-site contact person is Bambi Johnson. This is a festival. It will begin set up on Thursday. It'll go into the actual event itself Friday and Saturday. There's a breakdown Ms. Johnson put together of the actual event times. 8th, it'll begin at 5 p.m. and at 11. And then on September 9th, it'll be from 3 to 9. The area is depicted with the actual map of Concord Point Park of where the events will take place. And as everyone recalls, on the Friday night event will feature a boat parade that was very popular. So the costing sheets at the end. And council, we look forward to Ms. Johnson putting together a great event down at Concord Point, and we're hoping to use the fireworks from the New Year's Eve celebration that we didn't have. We'll be using those at this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gamatoria. Council, I have a motion to approve the Waterfront Festival.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Robertson, second by Councilmember Shenanigans. Questions or comments? Councilmember Zenner?
Chatty again tonight.
What, I'm sorry, what's that?
I said I'm chatty again tonight. I just want to remind folks, September the 8th is the same date for the Children's Art Show, but the times have changed. So there shouldn't be any conflict of whether they go see the mermaid or if they make something at the art show. So I want to thank the members of the Waterfront Festival for accommodating the change in time, and then the families can enjoy both events without any time conflicts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Zenner. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Waterfront Festival. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Waterfront Festival for September 8th through the 9th, 2023, from 5 o'clock to 11 p.m. and September 8th, 3 o'clock to 9 p.m. and September 9th at Concord Point Park. This event is approved 6-0 in the affirmative. Item number 4, Mr. Gamatoria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, the next event is the 60th Annual Havre de Grace Art Show, sponsored by the Friends of Concord Point Lighthouse in partnership with the Art Union. The on-site contact person will be Cindy Height, who's the art show chairperson. The setup will begin, and it's a little different this year than in past art shows, so I'll call to your attention when about third or fourth page back as I go through this. It's kind of spells out how the event's going to take place. So the setup will be on the 29th, and they'll start early in the morning and get things set up for the event taking place there, and then they'll move over to the Star Center, where they're going to have a reception that evening. Since it's their 60th annual, they decided to kind of change things up a bit. So the event will take place both at Tidings Park and Concord Point Park, with the event, the reception event over at the Star Center. That's Friday. So on Saturday, the event will take place from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m., and that'll be in both parks again, same sort of setup. They'll have music and so forth. They'll break down on the 30th at about 5 o'clock, and then there will be no Sunday event. So in the past, if you recall, we had the setup on Friday night, and then really Saturday, Sunday was the event. So a little bit different this year. So about the third, fourth page, fifth page in is sort of the event breakdown of how they are going to plan this year. There is one note on here that she had requested that the trolley operate between the 3 locations, and we told Ms. Height that the trolley's not for hire. The trolley will be out and operational that day, and it's going to be stopping at Tidings Park, Concord Point Park, and the Star Center, but it'll also make its loop through town as well. So we're not just going to have one trolley just go to those 3 locations. They'll loop through. We'll likely have the opportunity to have a third trolley on board that day, so that'll be helpful. The other pieces of the packet include the setup for Chief on the Friday before on Commerce and Giles Street, and then also the setup within Concord Point Park and then down at Tidings Park with all the breakdowns, and then the costing sheet is at the end. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoria. Council, I have a motion to approve the 60th Annual Havre de Grace Art Show.
So moved.
Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. 60th Annual Havre de Grace Art Show, September 30th, 2023, with a setup of September 29th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. Titans Memorial Park and Concord Point Park. This event is approved by council 6-0 in affirmative. Item number 5, Mr. Gamatoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next event is the Havre de Grace Oktoberfest, and it is sponsored by the City of Havre de Grace, the Beer Garden with the Havre de Grace Masons. On-site contact person will be Bambi Johnson. The setup is Saturday the 14th at 9 a.m. The event starts at noon, ends at 7, with a breakdown at 8 p.m. There is a rain date for the following day, should we have inclement weather on that Saturday. Within the packet, you'll find the advertisements, the beer garden setup, and then the Concord Point Park setup overall. So Ms. Allen was here earlier, and she had asked for us to amend the Concord Point Park location around the lighthouse, which was done the way that I'm sending around in years past. Ms. Johnson and Ms. Allen had a conversation, and it's not a problem. She's made the adjustment there. So we'll add that into the packet and then remove the previous map. And then lastly is the costing sheet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gamatory. Council, I have a motion to approve the Havre de Grace Oktoberfest.
So moved.
Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Havre de Grace Oktoberfest, October 14, 2023, with a rain date of October 15, 2023, from 12 o'clock to 7 p.m. is approved at Concord Point Park, 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much. Item 6, Mr. Gamatoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And last but certainly not least is the Havre de Grace Out of Darkness Walk. This is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Kat Obrick is the on-site contact person. This is a 5K walk throughout the city. There's a map attached. This will be on Saturday, the 4th of November. Setup will be at 6 a.m. The event starts at 8. It's over at 11 and a breakdown at noon. The setup down at Tidings Park will include a registration. We'll have some vendors and some giveaways down there as well as they did in the past. And the route is attached. It's a little bit different, but we had several meetings with the group, with the chief and Captain Crass, and we've all agreed that the map that's attached will be the one that we're going to use. So the costing sheet is also attached, and Mr. Mayor, that's the last of the events for tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatory. Council, motion to approve the Havre de Grace Out of the Darkness Walk.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Martin, second by Council President. Questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer?
So in my packet, I don't see a map. I see this page, which is green, but I don't see a map.
Okay. Trust me that there is a map. And the chief of police is okay with the map.
Okay.
I'm sorry it's not in there. I don't.
So there's a change in the,
Yeah, so before, we had some issues with the walkers being in the middle of the road and going down different locations, like a true 5K. This one, as I recall, and Chief, you're going to have to help me, I think it goes Commerce to Market, Market to, where's it, we make the left on, is it Lafayette, I believe? And then we go down to around either Stokes or South Adams, or, yes, and then we loop back around Commerce and come back to the park. So it's not a 5K run type deal.
and they're walking in the street because obviously Lafayette doesn't have sidewalks.
Well, that and also because there's so many people.
Right.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Right.
That trying to corral them on a sidewalk is virtually impossible.
Yeah. So rather than traverse this through the entire town, because there are primarily walkers rather than runners.
We didn't want to close down the whole downtown.
Yeah. And we were competing with the farmer's market, and there's a number of other events that going on. So everyone was agreeable to the chief and Captain Crass's kind of shrunk down the circuit.
So can we get an amended map?
We'll just add a map to it and send it
Yeah.
to you guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And we'll post it. It's probably posted. It's just not here.
Thank you. Any other further questions or comments? This is a vote for the Havre de Grace Out of Darkness Walk. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Havre de Grace Out of the Darkness Walk for November 4th, 2023, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., starting and ending at Tidings Memorial Park. This event is approved by council, 6-0 in the affirmative. Item 15, reports from directors. Mr. Gamatoya, Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And then council, kind of reverting back to the last one, if you go to the second page on the application, it gives the routes and written out. But we'll get you an actual drawn map as well. So thank you, Mayor, for that. Just a couple things. Mr. Borsier is at a training up in Philly for planners. I did want to, from his department, they provided us with some connection numbers. So fiscal year 21, at this moment in time, we had 52 connections. Fiscal 22, we had 48 connections. And fiscal 23, which we're in right now, we're at 49. So we're ahead of where we were in 22, but not quite where we are in 21. With that said, there's a number of connections that are on the table right now, primarily in Bully Rock, up in Greenway Farms. And if you haven't, you know, I'm sure no one rides around town, they go out to the industrial park, but there's a major renovation going on Old Bay Lane. It's really the last business on the right, and they're renovating that into some shell space, and that'll come up, I think it's about 5 or 6 additional commercial connections that we're going to see that we weren't counting on, as is the renovations at the very end of Clark Lane with the fellow that's the outfit that's doing the mattress foam deal out there. So the industrial park is alive and well, and they are the folks that help pay the bills here in the city. The only other thing, council, I would like some feedback, and after the meeting, not necessarily now, what I would like to do is, if you notice, the agenda packet went out in 2 mailers. Because of the size, we couldn't even upload it on E-code. It was so big, 188 pages, I think, of paper. Some of which, the packets that everyone receives here, not what you would receive online, but physically here, if it would be okay with council if I could start eliminating in the event applications some of the information. For example, the 501c3 business related documents, we will not allow a event application to come to council without it. Same with the certificates of insurance. And for example, the American Legion provided us with both, I guess, your local post and also the National Legion information, which was a sizable amount of paper. Again, it would all be available online. It would be captured here, and it wouldn't come before you without us having that in hand. The other thing we look at is if there's any business type dealings with anyone, which we don't include in here, is we're checking to make sure they're in good standing with the state of Maryland. So there's a lot of behind the scenes activities that are going on, but kind of think about it over the next week or so before Tammy pulls down another portion of forest before the next council meeting. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoya. We're going to go to our Director of Economic Development and Tourism, Ms. Bridget Johnson. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens at home. I have several updates this evening, so bear with me for a few minutes, please. One is the Economic Development and Tourism quarterly newsletter went out last week. It was the 6th edition. I'm sure everyone read it from front to back, but just in case you didn't, in downtown Havre de Grace, we had 4 ribbon cuttings, new businesses. We had 1 business change locations. We had 1 business closing, and we are celebrating Crazy 8's Hair Salon 30 years in business. We plan to have a larger celebration for them during Maryland Economic Development Week, which we always participate in. It's normally the 3rd week of October. So as we get more details and in the planning stages, I'll keep everyone up to date. But that is quite a milestone, and I definitely think we should honor and celebrate that business. The Maryland Energy Smart Grant, that is the grant that is paying for the new lighting in the LEDs in City Hall and the police station. We was just awarded $44,705 for FY23. This is a 5-year grant, so we are on year 2. The next buildings for LED installations are the Community Center, the Water Treatment Center, the DPW building, and the wastewater management building. Afterwards, we are already working on FY24, and that would be the Star Center, but prior to the grant, we have to do an audit on the building, and an audit is just that we have to go through and count every single light fixture, and we did that in this building as well. We finally have some data to compare now that we have the LEDs in the building. So in January 2021, the city, this is all of the municipal buildings combined, used 42,869 kilowatts. In January 2023, it was 31,906 with a 26% reduction. For the BGE monthly bill, I'd like to thank my colleague next to me for this information. In January 2021, the bill was $1,878. In 2023, it was $605 for a reduction of 68%. So the LED lighting, along with the buildings being on their solar panel farm in Perryman, is working. Havre de Grace is looking good, reducing our footprint. The electronic shuttle bus has finally been ordered. I've been talking about it for well over a year. We finally made it through the procurement process. It has been ordered, and the delivery date is August or September of this year. The electronic shuttle bus will be joining our fleet of trolleys. The contract is in process of being approved for the construction of the pier on Green Street. The contract, we know who the contractor is going to be. We have to work out one more document with the federal government, and then we'll be able to release that information. Construction will not start on the pier until late fall, probably November or December of this year. Currently in my department, we have several grants that we are either researching or in the process of completing. One is the Chesapeake Gateway National Park Service in the amount of $48,000. This is for audio walking trails. We have partnered with the Colored School, the Lighthouse and Keepers Museum, Historical Preservation Commission, the Arts Collective, and the Green Team. So hopefully that grant application has been submitted in the amount of $48,000. Hopefully we are successful. We have also submitted our grant to MHAA for $100,000. That is a $100K match, and that would be for a bathroom renovation at the visitor center. Community Legacy is due in June. We are writing for bathrooms at Hutchins Park. CDBG FY24 application is due June 7th. I'm looking for ideas, and I know as soon as I say that, I'm sure I'll have several by tomorrow to submit for that application. Speaking of CDBG, FY 21, 22, 23, and 24, funding is being used for the construction of sidewalks at Lafayette Street. So in between Maritime Museum and Market Street, we were able to cobble together those years because the funding each year is only about $60,000 to $63,000. So we have that funding in hand, and I'm sure Mr. EJ and his crew is going to take over, and we'll have a great new sidewalk in that location. We have an uptick in interest along the Route 40 corridor, and I am very excited. It has been the interest in Swan Harbor Shopping Plaza and seeing that build out and the coming of the new Popeyes chicken, as well as the building of or the site plans for a retail space there. There's also a property on Route 40 that is up for auction, very close proximity to that location. So we are at least getting a lot of interest, and I'm very excited about that as we work on our plan for redevelopment. Tourism. The city contracted with the Havre agency in January to deliver a marketing branding report due later this spring. The first step in the process was to conduct a quality of life survey. We made that survey available to residents and visitors on the city website, on our Facebook pages, in the restaurants, on QR codes, and we had a really good response. So as we, over the next week, analyzed this information, we did want to congratulate the winner of the gift basket that we offered. We call it our swag bag. We got permission to announce her name tonight. So we would like to congratulate Sakina Graham. She can pick up her swag bag at the Havre Grace Visitor Center. She is the winner of the survey. The citywide yard sale and sidewalk sale is coming up on Saturday, April 22nd. To add your name, call the Havre Grace Visitor Center, 410-939-2100, no later than April 17th. The City of Havre Grace welcomes 2 historic ships docking at Hutchins Memorial Park. June 1st through June 5th is the Pride of Baltimore. June 23rd through the 25th is the Maryland Dove. And again, for additional information or to get tickets to tour the ships, one should call the Visitor Center. First Fridays begins May 5th, so mark your calendars. We are promoting it everywhere, and everyone is following Explore Havre Grace. So the First Fridays season is well underway. Last but not least, we are 80% complete updating the Explore Havre Grace website. We just completed the museum and history pages. We have a lot of interest in the site because we can track people who are visiting our page. So we thank you. We'd like to drive more people to our page. So continue to follow us on explorehavregrace.com, Facebook, Instagram, and soon to be on Twitter. Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Johnson, thank you very much for the great update on what's going on in economic development and tourism. Really also happy to hear that the electric bus has finally been ordered.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to, so August, September, huh?
August or September, so
Awesome.
We'll be tracking it.
That's good news. Well, thank you very much for the update. Council, any questions for Ms. Johnson? Okay, thank you. Mr. Doherty, keeper of the coin, how are things going?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. Things are going very well. You'll see on the main 3 account funds a consistent pattern. The good news is financially, we're ahead of where we thought we'd be. The bad news is most of it's caused by material delays and the like, and construction projects. So. You will see later tonight large anticipated beginning balances for next year. So, for instance, the general fund is sitting at just over $4 million. It's about $1.5 million ahead of schedule. We have got over $6 million in delayed capital projects that just can't get done. So they will be moving. into 20. We're not giving up on the projects, just the timing. And there's about $5.3 million worth of revenues that are associated with it between grants, ARPA grants, bonds, well, not for Fund 1. I shouldn't say bonds for Fund 1, but so there's a lot of hard work in grants that are also delayed because we haven't expended the money yet. So the net difference is we're about $1.5 million, a little over, on 1.6 million ahead of schedule in Fund 1. In Fund 9, we're showing a deficit of little over 1.65 million, but we were supposed to be at a deficit of 2.15, and the reason for that is timing, because February and March are our big debt months, so it drives the fund balance down, and it was planned, and we will recover by the end of the year. And by the math, we're almost 500,000 ahead of budget. And much like Fund 1, we've got $3 million worth of capital projects that have been delayed, and tied with that, $2.5 million worth of bonds and grants and the like. Hence, the 500,000 ahead of budget where we thought we would be. And it will impact next fiscal year, obviously. Fund 8 is sitting at just on over $900,000, or about $285,000 ahead of budget. And this is where it's most pronounced, because revenue-wise, we're only $16,000 ahead of schedule. And the rest of it is completing the capital projects, much like the other two funds. And again, this is nothing more than what everybody's experiencing in being able to get materials, getting contractors and the like. Even a lot of those with contracts, everything's sitting on hold, waiting for that to happen. So it's a timing issue and one that we should recover from. But those are the general conditions of the funds. And we're ahead of budget, which is good. We're being, conservative with how we're doing it. But we are behind schedule with just about every capital project because of the economic environment that we are in. And that's my report for this evening.
Mr. Doherty, thank you very much. I appreciate the update on the report. And are there questions from council for Mr. Doherty? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, E.J. Melizer, the Director of All Things Public Works. How was your week?
It was great, Mr. Mayor.
Good.
Staying busy. Mayor, Council President, council members, citizens, first I want to deliver the Water Street parking lot progress. Have seen some capital project progress on that, so that's good news. Present
And that happened quick.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I will go into that. I want to present a few other project updates and finish up with some staff updates. So the good news is, to your point, the blacktops have finally reopened. We weathered the storm this past week, as many of you have seen, and we overcame a high water table on Water Street, so that's good news. But if you pass by and you notice some of those test pits that were dug up this past week, we wanted to make sure we met compaction and some of the fill material was quality before we move forward. So if you drive by now, you'll notice that it's a nice smooth as silk layer of blacktop asphalt down, first base layer. We're going to finish it up before the next council meeting with a top coat and hopefully some parking spaces for First Friday, as Ms. Bridget mentioned. So that's good news. Speaking of wrapping up some other projects, the fuel tank at the yacht basin are coming along nicely. Happy to report that we're running slightly ahead of the May 1st schedule. Next, shout out to Susquehanna Hose Company for a successful operation from the controlled burn last Saturday and allowing our Kieran Dunn to test our new metering device to help capture some of the city's water loss. Third, we began some restriping in the downtown area, for example, behind the Legion all the way to McGregor's. So if you notice the new striping, it looks really good. We repainted some areas up in the Bully Rock and Chapel Road Parkway area, or Chapel Road, Bully Rock Parkway. And next, we're going to restripe the 500 block of Congress. As always, consideration, minimal disturbance to the residents. Keep you updated on the progress. And last, to conclude, some staff updates. I want to congratulate Mr. Ricky Hickman for his new job at Amtrak. He currently finished training in New Jersey and is working in Perryville. I'd like to thank him for a decade of hard work and effort with the city. Wish him well at Amtrak. Lastly, thank you to the administration for helping hire the DPW Operations Specialist position. Congratulations to Nick Musaka for his hard work during the last 2 weeks and being my right-hand man. He's doing a great job, and I can finally get to Sam's Deli before it closes. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Council, any questions for EJ? EJ, thank you very much. Great work. Thank you. And we're going to head to Chief of Police. How are things going in the Office of Public Safety?
Everything's fine, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Good.
I just want to remind folks that this Friday, April the 7th, starting at 12 noon, the Susquehanna Ministerium is doing the Way of the Cross Walk, and that actually starts at Dave Craig Park. It goes up Union Avenue, loops around to Congress, also encompasses the downtown area, and then it concludes at Lafayette Plaza. Now, I tell you this because along the way, the Ministerium makes approximately 14 stops, and they do have a tendency to have a large group with them. So we will be escorting them just to make sure that, you know, nothing happens as far as traffic or anything like that. So we will be helping them with that. It's something very nice if you have the opportunity to join them. It's a very, very nice thing for this time of the year. The other thing I wanted to mention is on Saturday, April the 15th, the Housing Authority located on Stansbury Court, they're doing their annual community cleanup. We've helped them probably for about 10 years now. It's actually quite fun. If you don't mind throwing mulch and pulling weeds and picking up trash, that type of thing, and also helping some of the residents move out old furniture, that type of thing. It's a great time. They do feed you, so the hours are from 8 in the morning to 12 noon, and they're pretty exact as far as getting everything done by 12 noon. And again, that's Saturday, April the 15th at the Housing Authority of Somerset Manor, located on Stansbury Court here in Havre de Grace. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. The National Drug Prescription Take-Back Program is on Saturday, April the 22nd, from 10 in the morning to 2 o'clock. So if you clean out your closets, medicine cabinets, anything where you keep your prescription medications, you can drop them off if you're not using them anymore, they're expired. Instead of throwing them in the trash or down the commode or down the sink, please drop them off here at the police department, and we will take care of disposing them for you. I know that the citywide yard sale is that day, so you want to make some room for all the stuff you're going to buy at the yard sale. So drop all those things off at our police department. If you can't make it to our department, Bel Air Town Police are also doing the drug take back, as well as Aberdeen, Maryland State Police, the Bel Air Barrack in Falston. Wegmans is also doing it, and also at the county office building. And last, I just want to thank the First Christian Church here in Havre de Grace. They invited all first responders here in Havre de Grace to join them for a service this past, on March the 26th. It was a really nice service. Their message was servitude and helping communities and helping God. They were very, very nice. I appreciate the congregation inviting us. And Pastor Morris, his sermon was wonderful. They also had fellowship after with a nice lunch. We also showed all the kids the patrol cars and, had sirens going off and lights and everything like that. So I do really want to thank the First Christian Church and their entire congregation. That would be it, Mayor.
Chief, thank you so much for the update. Council, any questions for the chief? Thank you very much, Chief. We're going to go to item 16, business from the mayor's office. So I don't know why it is I always get this feeling like whenever I'm about to pass out the budget, like I did when I was in third grade doing a science project, bring it to school. I'm like, okay, here it is. All right, so before I get into my comments, I do want to hand the preliminary budget to the city council. Mr. Doherty, help me.
Thank you, Mr. Doherty.
haven't got my name on it this year. There it is. It's on the inside cover. Yeah.
I'm trying to save money.
Gotta remember who I am.
That's nice. What'd you say? Council President?
Yeah, we do.
Well, it says our third council president, but yeah.
Mr. Doherty, thank you very much for passing these out. Council? Okay, looks, 2024, right? Okay.
Mine says Jason Robertson.
Bill Martin.
Council, Mr. Doherty just passed out to the preliminary draft of the proposed budget for City of Havre de Grace for fiscal year 2024. To the citizens at home, this preliminary draft budget will be posted on the city website tomorrow, should you wish to take a look at. However, the cover letter, which is a couple pages long, I would like council to indulge me as I read the cover letter into the record for transparency, just so the public at home can get kind of an idea of where this budget's going this year and some of the things we're aiming to accomplish and some of the things that we're maybe scaling back on a little bit. So just take my maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, so bear with me here. Citizens of Havre de Grace, honorable members of the City Council, enclosed is my preliminary budget for fiscal 2024 for your consideration. The city was awarded $13.8 million from the federal government under the American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA, in late fiscal 2021. We received our allotment in fiscal years 2023 and 2022, and will be investing about $6.4 million of those funds toward the downtown restoration and resiliency project in fiscal year 2024. The city also anticipates receiving about $500,000 from the state legislature, which will be used for the continued renovation of the Star Center. Together, the downtown revitalization and the Star Center represents $8.5 million investment to address overdue improvements at the Star Center and to our historic downtown, and enable thriving social and economic engagement for the benefit of citizens, visitors, and merchants. My commitment to these efforts has generated tremendous interest in our city throughout the Eastern Seaboard. The city is also well on its way to using the $15 million citizen-approved bond proceeds that was borrowed for the water and sewer infrastructure rehabilitation. We expect to fully use these proceeds by the end of fiscal year. Additionally, I am continuing our investment in water delivery and sales to the city of Aberdeen. Our section of the Aberdeen pipeline is complete, and I expect Aberdeen to be prepared to receive water late in fiscal year 2024. The city of Havre de Grace continues to attract new residents as an increasingly desirable community. I am making large investments in water distribution and wastewater collection infrastructure to ensure we can supply safe and reliable drinking water and collect and treat wastewater as our city welcomes new homeowners. The fiscal 2024 water and sewer capital projects include over $5.4 million toward that goal. The 2024 budget is a fiscally responsible and sustainable budget, and with your approval, we will keep property tax rates at the 2023 levels. Unfortunately, rising prices and material shortages make it impossible for us to keep water and sewer metered rates at their current levels. For the first time since 2019, I am forced to raise rates to responsibly address inflation. Additionally, the marina slip rental will be increased in accordance with Ordinance 1091. The 2024 budget reflects our continued shared commitment to Havre de Grace, the most desired place in Hartford County, in my view, the entire region to live, work, and play. General Fund 1. The General Fund 1 is expected to begin the fiscal year with almost $1.75 million. Expenditures and fund transfers are projected to exceed revenues by the same amount, leaving the General Fund 1 balance at year-end as required by our charter. Budgeted revenues are expected to be $17.5 million in fiscal 2024, an $869,000 decrease from the current year projected revenues, primarily due to a $1.5 million decrease in anticipated county grant funds. As noted last year, these 2023 grants were targeted for development of our living shoreline, as well as the city's commitment toward the improvement of the Chesapeake Bay water quality. through remediation of our stormwater impact along the waterfront. These grants were one-time awards and have resulted in a shoreline that has become a leading example of the Chesapeake Bay stewardship throughout the state. The Maryland State Department of Assessment and Taxation estimates that the net assessable real property tax base for Havre Grace will increase $41.85 million for fiscal year 2024. SDAT is suggesting the tax rate be reduced from 0.565 cents to 0.5512 cents per $100 of property value tax to keep the real property revenues constant, also known as the constant yield. I am, however, proposing to maintain the real property tax rate at its current 0.565 per $100 of assessed value. The sizable growth in both population and residents places a greater demand on city infrastructure and services. The $236,500 estimated additional property tax revenues will only partially offset the increased operating costs created by this increased demand. Overall spending is budgeted to be almost $26 million, an increase of $2.8 million over projected spending in fiscal year 2023. The capital program is budgeted to be $7.4 million in fiscal year 2024, a $1.2 million increase over the current year's projected spending. Most of the increase can be attributed to ARPA-funded projects totaling $5.2 million that are expected to carry forward into fiscal year 2024. Budgeted personnel costs, including salaries, overtime, health care, pension, and other employee insurances, will decrease $166,000 from the current personnel budget, a 0.9% decrease. As we all know, inflation rates over the past year have reached levels not seen in decades. To combat current economic challenges and long-term sustainability, I intend to continue using outside professional services when appropriate instead of permanent staffing level increases. Now to the Water and Sewer Fund, Fund 9. The Water and Sewer Fund 9 is expected to begin the year with a $340,000 fund deficit. This deficit is attributed to the city experiencing dramatic cost increases in both operating supplies and capital project materials. The same inflation being experienced by our residents is impacting our costs as well. This condition was highlighted by our Water and Sewer Commission in their last annual report. As a result, I am proposing to increase metered fees in fiscal year 2024 by 10%. Metered water usage will increase from $6.20 per 1,000 gallons to $6.80. Likewise, sewer rates are increasing from $9.30 per 1,000 gallons to $10.20. This is the first metered rate increase since fiscal year 2019, 5 years ago. Operating costs are expected to increase $500,000, due mainly to increased costs to maintain the facilities at both the water and wastewater treatment plants. Combined with the anticipated start of our providing water service to Aberdeen in the second half of the year, the rate increase will generate adequate revenues to overcome the anticipated cost increase and provide about a $1.35 million towards the capital programs. This contribution is essential as the city anticipates over $1.6 million less in capital revenues as we complete the $15 million bond issue authorized in fiscal year 2020. Anticipated residential development for fiscal year 2024 is expected to continue at a slightly slower pace than we are experiencing in fiscal year 2023. New connections have been set at 100 units based on anticipated development during this year. Marine Facilities Fund 8. The Marine Facilities Fund 8 is budgeted to begin fiscal year 2024 with a surplus of $411,000. We anticipate the Marine Facilities Fund 8 will end fiscal year 2024 with only a $208,000 surplus. As noted below, the decline in fund balance can be attributed to the replacement of our fuel system, which was originally scheduled for fiscal 2023, but which has been delayed by the manufacturer. I am therefore proposing an increase of our slip fee rate to $67 per linear foot as legislated by Ordinance 1091. Operating revenues are expected to exceed budgeted expenses by $54,000. The city plans on expanding $258,000 in capital projects, primarily to complete the replacement of the fuel tanks. I trust you will find this preliminary budget as a solid foundation for our joint efforts to continue improving Havre Grace by managing growth and protecting our critical water resources. I thank you all for your continued partnership and your stewardship. Thank you very much, Council, for allowing me to read that into a record for the benefit of our citizens at home. And Mr. Gamatoria, did we have the first? I'm sorry, send it back here. I kind of want to announce to the citizens the tentative schedule meeting for the hearing. So, April 3rd, 2023, we handed out the budget this evening. We're planning on having work sessions, unless something comes up. April 10th, which is next Monday at 6 o'clock, in which we hope to address all funds if possible. Fund 1, Fund 9, Fund 8. If need be, we'll have a final review and follow-up on Monday, April 24th, here at 6 o'clock. So again, April 10th and April 24th, both 6 o'clock, right here in the council chamber. There'll be a public work session in which the council gets to ask questions with the directors and work on the budget. The public is welcome to observe and watch. We also plan to read the tax rate ordinance as first reading on May 1st and the water and sewer rate ordinance first reading on May 1st as well. And we're going to have a tax rate ordinance and water and sewer public hearing ordinance public hearing on Monday, May 8th. We're looking to adopt the tax rate and the water and sewer rate on May 15th. And the overall budget will be introduced to be approved in its entirety on June 5th, with a public hearing on June 12th and a final adoption on June 19th. These dates will be posted on our website as well, and they could be subject to change based on council's availability, but that is the tentative schedule, just to give everybody a heads up on where we're heading. So, thank you, council. I'm going to move on to just a couple quick comments. So, I want everyone to understand, I think the only thing anybody's going to remember tonight is that I said we're going to propose to raise the water rates 10%. So, if anybody's taking anything home, it's like, oh, they're going to raise the water rates 10%. Anyway, so, but I want everyone to realize that, you know, the water and sewer rate is not, the water and sewer fund is not a political gamut. It's not where we try to buy votes or lose votes. It's where we try to treat water to drink. We have been very successful in promoting Havre Grace and having people move to Havre Grace and buying new home connections. That's helped our fund. But I think we haven't raised the rate in 5 fiscal seasons. And I think everyone in this country, post-COVID, knows how ridiculous inflation is and the cost of materials. And if we don't raise the rates, then you know, we're going to be in trouble. So, like I said, that's 10%. Just figure we raised it. 10% at one shot is like as if we would have raised it 2% every year. So, you know, we're happy to discuss it. If people want to come talk about it at public hearing, we're all ears. But with that said, I also want people to realize that the men and women who work in this building work really hard to find other ways to save money for the citizens. And we have a great grant writing team under our Economic Development Department. A woman named Wanda Boger works with Bridget Johnson, who writes grants all day long. She's amazing at it. And we got a grant to put new lights in the City Hall and the police station. We went from, I guess, fluorescent lighting. I guess what it was there. We went to all LED lights. And these are the kind of lights where, like, it's dark when you walk down the hallway and it magically comes on when you walk down the hallway. It's annoying as hell. But anyway, the point is, I guess it's green, you know, but anyways, it is creepy. I mean, it's like something out of The Shining. It's like dark hallway, and as you walk down the hallway, all these lights come on. But I want to read some numbers to you. It's what we live with now at City Hall. But So in 2021, just see if you can bear with me here. The kilowatts used at both City Hall and the police station was 43,000 kilowatts in January of last year, 2021, City Hall and police station. With the LED lighting, we're down to 31,000, and that is a 26% reduction. What does that mean? We went from $1,878 to $605 for an electric bill for that month. In February, same thing, 42,000 kilowatts down to 28,000 kilowatts in February of this year, 34% reduction. It went from a $2,000 electric bill down to $647. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we're scratching for every penny that we have here. I mean, so you're talking about a savings of $1,200 and $1,200, about $2,400. You're talking $2,400 savings is a house worth about $450,000 that pays tax to the city of Havre de Grace. So one family that pays their home tax in the city of Havre de Grace, we just saved that amount of money. So it adds up. Like when I drive down the street, and if something costs $30,000, I drive down a street in Havre de Grace, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, that's how many houses it takes to buy a car or buy, a new plow or something like that. And that's how I look at it. How many tax-paying houses does it take to operate the city? And when we can alleviate one tax-paying house because we save money on our lighting, to me that is a small victory. We can use that money for something else that would serve the citizens even better than just lighting City Hall. So, like I say, the people that work in this building work hard every day to try to bring real savings to our citizens any way we can, every way we can. We have a good team. Now, one other thing I need to talk about, and this is, I know a lot of times you get these robocalls that come to your house whenever, the dam's about to explode or, there's a hurricane coming or something like that. But unfortunately, let me just read this to you and you'll understand. Both the City of Havre de Grace and Harford County communicate important information using an automated phone calling system called Blackboard Connect. It reaches out to our citizens for weather-related emergencies, tornadic activities, snow and flooding, as well as street closures, bridge closures, water service disruptions, and police activity and evacuation notifications. Basically anything you really need to know to protect yourselves. Currently, there are less than 7,000 contacts in our phone book for the 21078 zip code to take advantage of the system. And of those 7,000 phone numbers we have, 60% are not answering or the contact information is not accurate. So we're only reaching about 40% of the numbers of the 7,000 numbers that we have in our zip code. So the reason I'm saying all this, if you're watching this tonight, you're probably one of those people whose numbers work. But anyway, but if you're watching this tonight, or just mention it to your brother or your mom or whatever who lives in Havre de Grace, there's a QR code on this screen if you want to walk up to the TV and flash your phone at it. If not, you can go to www.harfordcounty.bbcportal.com, harfordcounty.bbcportal.com, or you can go to City Hall or City Havre de Grace website, and you can sign up right there. We should have there. But the point is, be connected. In case there's an emergency, please help us help you. Another thing I'd like to discuss as well, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because we've been getting a lot of calls to City Hall, so here it goes. We have a new trash collecting agency, started last July, Bartenfelder, and I got to tell you, they've been pretty efficient. They come out early, but they're pretty efficient. Usually by the time I leave my house at 6:30 in the morning, they've already got all my stuff, my recyclables and my trash. But because of that, we need you guys to put your trash out the night before. So we keep getting phone calls and emails to City Hall that says the trash collecting service was missing their home, not picking up their trash. commingling waste and not leaving a note for, what the point is, people calling saying they're not getting their trash picked up. Well, here's a little life hack tip for a lot of people in here. Ready? These trucks have cameras. And so when we get a complaint, we're your representative, and we're the citizens' representative, so we reach out to the trash contractor, and they say, okay, what's the address on that house? And we give them the address, and they send us a video that says, look, we drove right by here, and their trash wasn't put out. So I'm just letting people know. Let's have an honest conversation here. So just make sure you get your trash out the night before your trash comes, and they should pick it up. Now, if they're not picking it up, and we have that on video, well, that's a whole nother story. But I'm just letting everybody know, please, 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 please get your trash out the night before. This company works fast, and they come out early. So just wanted to tell everybody that. Get your trash out. And finally, it gives me great pleasure to talk about a sweet lady who I've met several times. And her name is Mabel Hart. Now, Mabel Hart is the most experienced citizen in the city of Havre de Grace. And I say this because Mrs. Hart is 104 years old. And she is a sweet lady who has seen it all, done it all. She used to be a school teacher, which she retired from school teaching before I was born. So I'm telling you, just because she's putting a number to that pension. Anyway, I'm proud of her. Way to stick it to him. But I'm very proud of Mrs. Hart for reaching the age of 104. We're very proud to call you a Havre de Grace citizen. All my love to you and the council as well, and we'll see you at 105. I know you can do it. You got at least 20 years left. So thank you, Ms. Hart. And hold on one second. Now you can talk about that. Yeah, you can talk about that. I'm done. I'll talk about Ms. Hart. That's the last thing I'm talking about. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. I know it took a while, but I wanted to read the budget and talk about a few things. And so we're going to start with council comments with Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor, and I think it's so far it looks great, and I really appreciate all the effort that goes into it. I know everybody on the administration does a lot of work, George especially, to put it all together, and I really appreciate the time that you guys do it. You're very, very thorough in doing it. Just wanted to say that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and it is a campaign to raise public awareness about sexual assault and educate communities and individuals about how to prevent sexual violence. And SARC has reached out. They're in need of some help. They would like individuals in the community to help shower a newly renovated 40-bed shelter with needed household items. There is a site on Amazon called SARC's Amazon Wish List, and I'm sure you can go to SARC's website to get that information. Your donation is going to make a difference in the lives of the survivors of abuse. When checking out, you can choose other address and then use the Sexual Assault Spouse Abuse Resource Center's gift registry address as the location. So I clicked on the link that they provided me, and on Amazon, we're talking about things like plates, a coffee maker, some throws and blankets, laundry bins, your basic household items that they would need to set up so that these individuals, it's not just women, when they come out of abusive relationships, they literally leave, in many cases, with the clothes on their back. And just having a place set up for them where they can just focus on repairing themselves and their families is really important. So anything that we can do, hopefully this month, in recognition of Sexual Abuse Awareness Month, to help out members of our community who are truly in need, that'd be truly appreciated. And with that, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Good evening, Councilmember Zinner.
I really just have a few short announcements. The Historic Preservation Commission will be meeting next Tuesday here at City Hall at 7 p.m. The Arts Commission will be meeting on the 25th of this month, again in City Hall at 6:30 p.m. And I just want to talk about the work that the Independence Day Commission is doing. we're getting closer and closer to the 4th of July, and it'll be here before we know it. So they're working hard on contracts with bands, with, for the Hutchins Parks concert, and also for entertainment during the parade, bands for the parade, color guards, etc. But as always, we need more volunteers. So I know everyone enjoys the parade. So if you would like to volunteer, please give me your contact information, and I'll pass it along. So I hope if you hadn't volunteered in the past, you'll consider doing it this year, because we do need quite a few volunteers to meet the need of the citizens and also the people who come to the parade and the performers as well. So just contact me on my city email address, and I will get the information to the appropriate people. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Zinner. Good evening, Councilor Roberts.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, city staff, ladies and gentlemen here and at home. A couple quick things. Number one, it's good to be back. For those who don't know, I'm still in the Army Reserve, so I have to go do things from time to time. So I was doing that, and now I'm back in the wonderful city of Havre, Grace, just in time for Easter. So I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter if you celebrate. If you don't, then enjoy what I hope is going to be good weather this Sunday. And let's go O's.
Thank you very much, Councilor Robertson. Good evening, Councilor Schnaves.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administration, citizens in the audience and at home. I'd like to say that this weather weekend was incredible, but after the storm, there was beautiful sunshine on Sunday, and the Green Team had an opportunity for tree adopters to come out and take care of their trees and prep them for the spring. Along with that, there were some new additions added, a new hazelnut trees, a few fig trees and elderberry trees. There are quite a few different assortments. There's apples, there's peach trees, apple trees, different types of blueberries, etc. There's even the pawpaw tree, which is a native species and mostly seen out in the forests, but it has been brought to the Todd Park Food Forest. And I just want to say thank you to the Green Team for making that available to the community. And come out in a couple months, you'll start seeing fresh fruit, and it's available to everybody to eat. Just come along, take your pick, and spend some time at the park, Seneca Park, and enjoy some time with your family. I wanted to say that we have a Marina Commission meeting coming up next week, Wednesday, April 5th at 4:30 p.m. here in the council conference room, and also a Planning Commission meeting Thursday, April 17th at 6:30 p.m. here in council chambers. Look forward to seeing anyone that would like to come and join our meeting, and seeing everybody out and about as all these wonderful events are unfolding for our spring. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilor Schnaves. Councilor Martin, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, Council, those in the audience and those that have the patience to stay at home and watch us on TV. Two quick things. One is we talk about volunteers. Defenders Day is coming up. I know the 4th is coming, and we need volunteers for the 4th, but we also need volunteers for the Defenders Day event. So if you have the time, please reach out for the Defenders Day event. Second, I want to thank the Air Force for coming out to the Star Center and their performance on Saturday night. Their performance was fantastic. The weather was a bit dicey. And on that note, I would like for the administration, if they could, working with our DPW, one of the things that I noticed is when that thunderstorm hit with that hail, people were walking with their heads down. And that's okay, except the handicap rampway from the parking lot to the Star Center, vehicles were turning down that and driving down that ramp. And there were several pedestrians that, thank God they looked up when they did, because the people were driving and they were focused on getting into the parking lot, and they were driving across that sidewalk and that rampway. If we could reach out to the Board of Education or through our police department to put a barricade when we're having events like that so that people won't drive down that walkway, it would be greatly appreciated. It's all about concern and safety for our citizens. On that, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Microphone.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Martin. We're going to go to business for Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, just a few things. I also saw people driving down that, and I was trying to figure out how we could fix it. This Saturday is the Easter egg hunt down at the Concord Point Lighthouse. High noon. I will be representing the mayor. I've already been in talks with the Easter Bunny several times this week, and we've got everything lined up. I will be finding some dad jokes to cover for the mayor to tell everybody. I got to find the corniest ones I can. So, see here. This weekend is the Susquehanna Host Company banquet up at Level Fire Hall, where we get to recognize the hardworking firefighters of Susquehanna Host Company. Next weekend is the Ducks Unlimited bull roast for the R. Madison Mitchell chapter, and that's at the community center. And that, if you want tickets for that, they're still available. You can contact Merle Doherty over at Chesapeake Rental or Sam Bubb over at Wilhelm Garage, or you can go online and just look up Ducks Unlimited for bull roasts, and that helps us raise money to increase the flock sizes in the area, specifically around here. The biggest problem I have with Ducks Unlimited is they're centralized out of the central flyway, and so we have to work extra hard to make sure that we get money that stays in state. And so if you can support the Ducks Unlimited, I'd greatly appreciate that. And also that morning, I'll be out along Route 155 with the Boy Scouts doing Adopt a Highway. So if you see us out there on the 15th in the morning, I think until noon, make sure you honk the horn, but drive around us. So with that, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Council
I
President.
apologize, sir.
Oh.
One thing I did note,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Councilmember Shenegas pointed this out. The dates for the hearings and the readings of for the budget, the last entrance, you have budget ordinance second reading and adoption for June 19th. That is a holiday, sir. So we have to do that on the 20th.
Yeah, no worries, yeah. That council meeting will be pushed to Tuesday. Yep, thank you for bringing that up.
She got it. Oh, Councilmember Boyer got that.
All right, thank you. All right, so that takes us to item 18, which is adjournment. Council have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
A motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Shenegas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against adjournment say nay. Adjournment carries 6-0 in the affirmative. The time is now 9:05 in the evening. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a wonderful Easter break, and we'll see you here on the 17th. Thank you.